We are live. This is the market update. Does the government have anything left to throw at crypto? Shouldn't crypto be down more than it is? And if something should go down and it doesn't, what can it do? Plus, did Satoshi Nakamoto read the work of William Gann? Sound ridiculous? It's not. Full moon, April 6th at midnight. You're going to want to hear the details. But first, if you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you or you've never heard anything as wild as what I'm about to tell you, hit the like button. It's holiday time. Like button for me, please. Okay. Sorry I'm late. King, hi. Bull Runner, Alexandro, we are definitely going to have a show today. Sleepy in the house. King is here. Orly, SEO, SFG, BitBoy Al, welcome. East Tennessee, Duilo from Madrid, right? Maryland, PK with the notorious love. I appreciate that, right? We have Belgium is here. Fudge about from Smashville, as in the like button. Crypto Bullseye, fellow chart brother. Can't wait to get all caught up here. I'm going to hook you up. Fernando, let's go. And Alexandro wants Notorious for president. Man, somebody give me enough money to get a grassroots campaign started and enough money to get to a debate. Forget about it. Forget about it. Okay, news. There's a lot to go over, and a lot of it's going to be relevant over the weekend. This just in, U.S. Treasury says decentralized crypto markets threaten national security. Sushi Swap brings down the government. Hardly. Here's what a national security threat is. $17 trillion in the banking system and an 8% or 7% inflation rate. You can't print your way out of it. National security crisis, point number one. National security crisis, point number two. We decide to not make oil anymore or shut down our oil industry, which emboldens an invasion in Eastern Europe involving a major oil supplier. We then proceed to embargo them or sanction them, and then we criticize major Arab partners who also produce oil. Could that have been any worse? What is more important to national security than the ability to turn on the lights and drive? I don't know, but that sounds like a threat to national security to me. How about the threat to the dollar as the world's reserve currency, or just a flat-out attempt to crash the dollar in general? The dollar is the world's reserve currency is all the talk on Twitter these days when it's been on Zero Hedge and in legacy media and investment bank research for 2 years. Okay. How about the fact that major powers in Eurasia, namely the Chinese and the Russians, have been basically buying all the gold in the world. Meanwhile, in the Western world, where we have a paper gold market, every gold bar could have 100 owners. Now, Bitcoin at $150,000 would be embarrassing to the U.S. government. They know that. We know that. They're trying to prevent that. The threat to national security is that if they're throwing the kitchen sink from our thumbnail today, if they're throwing the kitchen sink at Bitcoin and crypto, is that what we got left? Energy policy, gold holdings, the banking system. We're going to pick on crypto? Well, yeah, they can pick on crypto all they want, but the question you have to start asking yourself is it working? My answer would be no, because again, if this came out of the clear blue sky, say in the Q4 of last year, national security, Bitcoin, a threat. This thing would be like down 10%. Market's barely moving. That should tell you something. Here's the Wall Street Journal. Decentralized crypto market threatens U.S. security, says the Treasury. Okay. In the new report, the department lays a foundation for regulation and enforcement of DeFi markets. FTX blows up the system and they want to come down on DeFi. Fascinating. Meanwhile, check this out. So banks fail, their assets get liquidated, right? If you declare bankruptcy or you hand your keys back to your house, you hand the bank the keys to your house and default on your mortgage, the bankruptcy court or the bank has to sell your house to try to get what it's owed. Well, look who's been hired by the FDIC to liquidate Silicon Valley Bank. BlackRock. Cue the Empire Strikes Back theme song. Amazing how they're going to be doing $114 billion. So if you're wondering why it seems like everything is all right, really what the government is doing is setting up a mechanism to re-auction the entire financial system. In other words, what does a Fed failure look like? If the Fed loses control, really what that means is the Fed has to go, okay, Mr. Market, capital markets, you guys all did your MBA, you got your finance textbooks, you guys are just going to have to reprice everything. Everything, right? That means whatever assets are out there are going to have to be marked down and sold. And, we'll have, professional vultures like BlackRock come in and manage the sale of assets, which essentially leads to a whole new level of price discovery for commercial real estate, housing, bank loans, venture capital. Why do you think BlackRock was asking about the tokenization of everything? Their phones rang and somebody says, you're going to have to liquidate all this. They're in charge of the sludge. So I'm sure they're making quite a hefty profit on it. And, you have to be really careful. These guys want to control crypto. They could turn around and buy Coinbase tomorrow, make a deal with the government. But this is important. The system is being repriced. And that includes crypto, which of course we think, or I would think, that means crypto being priced much higher. Otherwise, why would it be a threat to national security? There are plenty of threats to national security. Speaking of threats to national security, TikTok, aka the apocalypse. Okay, spending on TikTok ads is actually going up. So if this is, nefarious Chinese malware, I'm not a computer expert, right? I actually hear it's bad news. However, people are spending money on TikTok to get through to people. I have seen certain TikTok videos of mine, 9, 10, 40, 298,000. Most of them get like 200, but some of them just explode. People are on TikTok looking for real information. And this whole thing where we're going to use TikTok as an excuse for the government to expand into the internet and take it over and shut you down if they don't like what you're saying. It's as simple as that. TikTok is being used as like a Trojan horse, in effect. A thumbnail done by by my producer. It's a Trojan horse. They want to move into the internet using a ban on TikTok and use that as a way to shut everything down, possibly even crypto. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. You're going to shut down the internet? I mean, first we had Al Gore invented the internet. That was the joke of the last decade, which is actually a pretty funny joke because I think it was just a slip on his part. So, we had Al inventing the internet and we have Joe taking it over. Not going to happen. Six-figure Bitcoin is going to happen before that happens because they have lost control. Binance Australia derivatives license canceled by securities regulators. Unfortunately, CZ is taking the brunt of this. Again, they punch Binance. The market's getting immune to this. Bitcoin white paper apparently hiding in Apple's modern Mac iOS or Mac OS. It's a question of time before somebody like Apple, before Web3 buys, I'm sorry. It's a question of time before Web 2 buys Web 3. Apple is not stupid, right? Their hardware devices are going to have crypto wallets in them. And if they don't, people are going to switch to the Solana phone. You say what you want about these Silicon Valley executives. They are not stupid. They are not stupid. Latest Bitcoin price data suggests a double top above 200K in 2025. Okay. So, I mean, people have, outlandish Bitcoin price predictions is an interesting way to make a living and get attention. If I had to get attention, I would say there's a likelihood that Bitcoin could flush lower below its FTX low and then turn around and take out the high by December or January of next year. You could actually have both. That's my outlandish Bitcoin price prediction. 200K Bitcoin, you have 200K Bitcoin, the Fed has totally lost control. And 40 million Fidelity customers are pushing a button to get Bitcoin. They are pushing a button. IMF warns that you have the weakest global growth outlook since 1990. Thank goodness we have economists to tell us these things, especially from the IMF. This is the stuff that they should have published when Powell went ballistic with a rate hike cycle, raising 450 basis points in 9 months, totally unprecedented. Okay? They're citing the Russian invasion and economic fragmentation. Just remember, this is important because like the unemployment and jobs numbers, which came out today, these things are lagging indicators. Frequently, economists are late on all their moves. Thought leaders are early. Economists are always late. Economic data sometimes lags, right? Like, for example, first we see the number of job want ads go down. Notice open jobs falling. Then when you see Silicon Valley and Wall Street at the unemployment office, job growth and new claims for unemployment are going to explode. They're just going to explode on a delayed basis, which is probably going to be massively bullish crypto. Right. I'm guessing in July. Right. Regulators are going to push back in May and April. I can say what I want, but we may have not seen the kitchen sink from regulators. Because if they make all this noise and Bitcoin doesn't really go down and then rips higher on Easter Sunday, which markets do, we'll cover that later. So if you want to know if Satoshi Nakamoto read William Gann's novels, and you want to know what the full moon coming up means, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. U.S. profits set for pandemic-sized drop, Goldman Strategists said. This from the same guy that was telling people, this from the same group that was telling people there was going to be no recession in the U.S. Now, that's not because they don't have good work as researchers. I have respect for everyone's work. This is this whole idea that in investment banking, you have to be out of consensus when you're evaluated. So first they were out of consensus when they said no recession. Now, GDP growth has not gone negative. But what they are saying is corporate profits could drop a lot. Okay, that's possible. That's probably more of a phenomenon for the fall. Something's going to happen in the fall to stocks. Right now, this is less relevant. Why? Because $115 in a stock is better than $115 in the bank. Okay. Extra points if you can figure out what stock I'm actually talking about. I can't do it because I'd be providing investment advice. Gold's digital makeover. Fascinating that the tokenization of commodities, which the group I work for, Emerging Asset Group, is hard at work on, which includes our own gold token, water trading, and other things, including the tokenization of New York City's Diamond District at 47th Street, otherwise known as Block 47. So the big caps have gotten to $1 billion market cap. The guys on the small cap side are working hard. Value investing is still alive and well. Silicon Valley panicking. Meta reveals an AI tool to help brands target Facebook and Instagram users. I think it would be a lot better if they did this in the metaverse. This feels like a step back. I always thought you'd be talking in the metaverse to somebody or some AI-based entity rather than you and the fullback on your high school football team. You're both hanging out as avatars. But Silicon Valley is panicking, and they are going to buy whatever they have to keep their stock moving higher. Coinbase-backed motion for Tornado Cash is unconstitutional. What's unconstitutional is the government randomly picking on people just because they can. Okay? In other words, the government came down and arrested programmers for Tornado Cash just because they were easy targets to try to make a statement about privacy. Meanwhile, there's going to obviously be a case for privacy if anybody thinks crypto is a threat to national security. Right? There's also going to be a case for privacy because if things get dark in the world, you're going to need to do transactions in the metaverse. And I don't know why you would want to do transactions if everybody can see what's in your wallet. You need basic privacy for metaverse e-commerce. Speaking of metaverse e-commerce, Ralph Lauren goes crypto. Airdrops NFTs to a Miami party. Listen, when big fashion goes phygital, like NFTs, DAOs, to figure out what people want, and then delivering physical goods from an NFT. We're doing it with Block 47, an emerging asset group. Can you imagine what happens when these big players start getting involved? The NFT market's going to figure out a way to get hot again. And remember, art and stocks or art and risk assets are not correlated. There is going to be a headline one day where you wake up and you're like, wow, such and such huge firm plows a whole bunch of money into NFTs as a way to protect themselves against the fall of Rome. There's a lot of talk about the fall of Rome, the fall of the US dollar. That's fine. That's fine. That's old news to me, but that's fine. The question is, how do you trade it? Right? If the dollar goes lower, is the trade, question mark, long commodities, oil and wheat? Is it long gold and silver? Seems obvious. Careful with that, though. Right? People are paying exorbitant prices for physical gold. And I get that. They got to get their money out of the banking system. But are there other commodities that could smoke higher? Like crypto. Ethereum does extremely well when gold and grains rally. Dollar down, grains up, gold up. According to statistical research done with an economist at a prior job, could be 5-digit Ethereum. Especially if you got a sustained dollar down move, which frankly I expect. Last year, everyone was like, oh my God, DXY is at 100. It's at 102. Oh my God, it came back to 101. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about what happens if DXY goes to 80. That's probably the ETH trade near the end of the year or in July, right? Now, let's talk about the full moon. You have to wait no longer. The full moon, it's called a pink full moon. I have not fully digested that, but here's what I can tell you about the full moon. Here's the sun, here's the moon, here's the earth. When you have a full moon, the earth is squarely in the middle of the sun and the moon, creating gravitational forces that affect people's behavior. Don't believe me? Ask anybody who works in EMS or police what happens on the night of the full moon. Now, as planets spin around the earth, they've just given the quadrants of space names, right? So, how do we say that, I don't know, the full moon was over here and now the full moon is occurring over in this quadrant of space as the earth spins around? How do we do that? Well, we use astrology signs. It's like how we sort of map out the sky. So this full moon is going to occur in the quadrant of space known as Aries. Now, frequently when you say full moon in Aries, it connotates, astrology, and you don't take it seriously. Well, you can take it seriously or not take it seriously, but Gann did. And I'm just explaining to you that when you see full moon in blank, that's just referring to where in the sky or where in the heavens it occurred. So the full moon in Aries occurs when the sun is in Libra and the moon is opposite to it. This is key. This creates a dynamic tension between self and other, like us and them, crypto and the rest of the world, the individual and the collective, right? Captain Picard versus the Borg, right? Being your own bank versus the banks. And then, of course, there's the leader and the follower. That's the crypto people, the sheepdogs, the protectors of your own money, and the followers, the mindless herd who doesn't think that they have to own anything other than a dollar bank deposit. Now, how does this affect Bitcoin? According to historical data, right, source ChatGPT, Bitcoin tends to have significant price movements, more than 3%, within 2 days of a full moon in Aries. Here are some examples, 2011, 2022. So here's the tweet blown up. Okay, new moon, full moon Aries, April 26th. So these are new full moon Aries in April. Down 5%, up 2.8, down 6%, up 3.8, up 3.8, down 3.4. Okay. So somewhere around this full moon, you're going to get a down move or an up move. Now, my guess would be that whatever down move was going to occur may have already occurred. It'll occur tonight or it'll occur tomorrow. We'll have sort of a stop fishing exercise on a holiday, Good Friday. Okay. Markets love making new crypto, loves surprises on holidays. They love it. Okay. Watch out for Easter weekend. Bitcoin likes to make big moves on Western holidays, in my experience. That's source me. So this could be down or, frankly, not down because the government tried to take it out. And then if that doesn't work, they may run the stops on the upside, keeping in mind the solar eclipse on April 20th to 21st is constructive Bitcoin because an event like that is associated with legacy crises and dollar devaluations. So I'm seeing that as constructive for Bitcoin in April, not investment advice. And that move could kick off on the full moon, right? Like if this temperate, modest slump on all this FUD from the government is crypto's idea of a down move, then this full moon thing could turn around and go straight up. Because again, they weren't really able to push it down. Now, can I map it out day to day, minute to minute? Well, I hope so. Okay. My overall plan, because this is the question. Do you have a strategy? If they try to hit the market, this full moon could be an up-only event. It could start a major up move, particularly if they can't hit the market for like the balance of today into tomorrow morning. So you got a holiday on Good Friday and you got a holiday on Easter Sunday. Western holidays, Memorial Day, July 4th, right? Western holidays, I have seen big moves that let you eat your dinner, let you watch TV, they'll let you hug your significant other, and then at 5 p.m. when you're trying to relax or you're fully relaxed, boom, somebody starts running stops or starting a move. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. It's ruined my holiday when my positions were the wrong way, leading me to just a simple reminder of a legacy idea. Don't go long into a long weekend. Okay. That may be, a counter argument to what I'm just saying. You can get serious volatility around holidays. In crypto, personally, I think it's dip and then go. Just a question of how big the dip is. Right now, I'm sort of sensing that they should have hit it today and they can't. So long weekends, holidays, be cognizant of that. Meanwhile, MicroStrategy now owns 1 out of every 150 Bitcoin. This guy is such a beast. He's like, I'm long at like 28 or 29K. Come get me. Now, I like that, but you got to be real careful looking out, say, for the rest of the year, that you don't have some wild event in June, right, that creates a flush lower in Bitcoin, okay, or an event in September or October, which is like very uncertain. Okay, you got to watch out for that flash dip. Remember what I said about wearing a lampshade on your head? Gotta be careful with that. Now, is this guy going to wind up being right? Probably. Is he going to be hugely right early next year? I think so. You know, the Gann work suggests so. Just don't get too giddy. In other words, if you start chasing this thing above 30, okay, on a trading rally, that's fine. Okay. And can you imagine the euphoria? If this is what we look like at 28. Can you imagine what it's going to look like at 34? So eclipse up, sell at some point in May, like the 15th or the 25th, down in June. Hopefully that's not terrible, but it could be, especially if they try to take over the internet or there's a geopolitical event. And then in July, it starts the up move, dip in the fall. Okay. Hopefully that's more of a stock market thing. And then when that's over, then that's when you want to come in big. Again, not investment advice. ChatGPT recommends massive allocation in gold in its recession-proof portfolio. Well, I just read that headline and I'll let you sit with that. Diversification is not stocks, bonds, and say commodities. Diversification has to be thought of in terms of foreign exchange and currency. So, money in the bank, dollars, sterling, physical silver, physical gold, Bitcoin, ETH on an exchange, ETH in MetaMask, ETH in a cold wallet, or an altcoin or some sort of Web3 based play that you may have. Cash in your house. Cash in your friend's house. Diversification has a different answer. Now, if you want to get wild, let's get wild. You want to go? Let's go. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Well, we don't know that. But we have a sense that maybe he read Gann. Maybe he read Gann. Gann wrote a fictional science fiction novel called A Tunnel Through the Air in 1927, which is essentially his way of encoding a lot of his knowledge and predicting things like World War II, for example, among other things. The novel's hero, Robert Gordon, was born on June 9th, 1906, the same date as the first Bitcoin block was mined in 2009. Robert Gordon also found a secret code in the Bible, similar perhaps to the cryptography of Bitcoin. Is it a coincidence or is it a clue? The novel also predicted a war from 1930 to 1932, which could be a metaphor for the Great Depression and the stock market crash of 1929. This parallels the global financial crisis of 2008 and the rise of Bitcoin as an alternative currency. So, Satoshi was a Gann fan. Who knew? Or Gann just knew because he knew he made $50 million trading in the 30s. Gann just knew that one day there'd be an alternative out there. Who knew if he actually knew the details or he just left the sketches out there and the breadcrumbs for us to find it. What's the main point? The main point is crisis benefits Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was created in 2008 off a big event with the planet Pluto. We've had a similar event with the planet Pluto. Pluto's currently doing something that it hasn't done, similar to the French Revolution and the American Revolution. So you can make fun of me if you want, but I would suggest this become a part of your plan. This become a part of your plan because Satoshi read Gann. Now, you're probably wondering if I have any charts. Of course I do. Don't be silly. Okay, let's go to like a 4-hour chart. Actually, let's go to Bitcoin Weekly. So these little numbers are from Tom DeMark's analysis. Okay. Each number represents a set of conditions. So for the one, it means, I don't know, the high is higher than the high 2 days ago, for example. It's complicated. Each time that condition is present, you get a number. So it's true today, 1. True the next day, 2. Normally, if there's a trend, it may go to 9 before it corrects. And usually you get the dip on a 4 or a 5. This is Bitcoin Weekly. You got the dip. It came back. You could wind up with 3 up weeks here. Don't underestimate what this thing can do, particularly if there's no dip. Okay, Bitcoin daily chart. Nothing is happening here. Nothing. Okay, now let's look at ETH. Okay, so there was a 9 top in ETH on the daily chart. It went sideways. There's a 9 top in ETH. Maybe you got a little bit of a slump today. Frequently, when you get 9 tops, right, you should get a counter trend move. So this is totally in line with theory. If there's another dip and that dip is bought with buying, you could have anywhere from 3 to 13 up days in ETH as the market transitions from set up to countdown. That's the DeMark lingo. Okay. In other words, the dip in Ethereum was last week. And, you know, if things get wild in April, now I don't know how this Shanghai upgrade is going to affect ETH. Seems like the person I talked to today about it, Seth, mind your biz, seemed to think it was kind of like, you know, maybe buy the rumor, sell the fact, like ETH 1550. So that's why, I understand this could be a trading rally. You could have 3 or 4 more up weeks. I would get focused on like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 more up days. Okay, so as this stream lives, the question is, did ETH go down on Thursday and then turn around on Good Friday or Easter? Or could it be the Good Friday dip and the Easter Sunday pump? Very possible. Very possible. Okay. Mr. Moby Dick says that's the spirit. Rudy wants to know if I have any more charts. Rudy, of course I have more charts, bro. Of course I have. Okay, so someone's asking about Tesla. Generally speaking, not terribly interested in being short equities. I know that's kind of counterintuitive. So this is Tesla monthly, right? You know, it would be really sick if the Tesla monthly chart, the D wave, showed wave 1 up was in 2017, wave 2 down was in 2019, wave 3 up ended when Bitcoin topped, and wave 4 ended in January of this year, and there was actually a wave 5. Like, can you imagine Tesla making a new high? What if they somehow intertwine Doge and Bitcoin into their platforms? You want to underestimate Musk? No. The government cannot hold this thing down. They can't hold it down. They can't stop Musk from incorporating Doge and Bitcoin into Twitter. They can't. Okay, so here's Doge on a daily chart. Okay, I thought the dip was going to be on a 4. They did some additional dipping. You may get 2 more positive days. People are probably selling this to pay their taxes. Okay. Again, if you look at Doge weekly, it's only on a 2. And they're giving you a chance to buy this way off the high. So again, not investment advice, but I'm not really interested in fading Musk. I'm not. Matter of fact, I keep coming up with this idea of how are you gonna plan for a materially lower dollar? Like, has anybody said Dogecoin and the dollar? If the dollar goes lower, Doge could go up. Has anyone talked about that? No, which is why I am. Okay, Gala and a lot of altcoins may look like this, right? Okay, you have a 1 wave up off the FTX low. You have a 2 wave down as they run stops, right? They run stops. And then Gala, which again could be an integral component of Web3, which is bought aggressively by Web2. And as you can see, this is either dead money or it's the bigger the base, the higher in the space. This Elliott wave count is really interesting. Crypto has its trials and its problems. The theme that I'm going to leave you with, well, I'm not leave you with, I'm going to emphasize, if you made it this far in the video, is that when crypto's going up, you got to get money. You got to get it while the getting is good. And you can't sit around and get caught bearish. Now you got to use stops, right? But if you see crypto waking up, or you see crypto doesn't go down when the government hates on it, please pay attention. Okay. Avalanche. Let's maybe take some risk and look at a 4-hour chart. So when you're looking at a 4-hour chart of Avalanche, looks like it kind of topped out up here at 18 and change. And you probably don't want to get all bullish on it until it gets back above 18. In other words, let them flush this out right before the full moon. Let them flush it out. You know, maybe it's down on Good Friday, up on Easter. Okay, you know, if Apple is getting involved in crypto, that may put pressure on the Solanas or the Avalanches of the world. Okay, Solana is down today. No major pattern either way. It's just sort of stuck. Okay. Kim has an interesting question. They ask, if the derivatives bubble burst, does my house get paid off? Well, I mean, if you're, you know, long alternative assets, short legacy, maybe. If the derivatives bubble bursts, your mortgage will probably wind up getting sold to BlackRock. And then you'll just get a statement in the mail from a different provider, especially if they have to re-auction the entire market. Okay. Okay. Somebody wants to look at the 3-day chart of Bitcoin with a 200-week moving average. Sounds cool to me. Let's put an exponential moving average on here. By the way, if you like live technical analysis, please hit the like button. You hit the like button, I help you. You want somebody there for you when this hits the fan. Feel free to help us out. Okay. For whatever reason, it's not letting me pull this up. Let me try this again. Okay, not getting the 200-day moving average. I will look into that. Sorry to disrupt the show. So Crypto Clan says we are going down. Okay. Crypto Clan's liking how we're doing this. Spot gold is getting hit. Let's take a look at gold. Okay, so when it comes to gold, you do have a new high that so far is not confirmed by a new high in momentum indicators. Sometimes in mega trends, you can have this if gold turns around and goes up. I have seen this in equities where you go, oh my God, it's a negative divergence, and then it goes up again. I think this consolidation at 1973 implies 2100 for gold. I have work that I put on my Twitter. April, May, June is better for gold than actually for Bitcoin. Gold can trend steadily higher throughout this quarter, whereas Bitcoin is going to have this like V-top thing going on where they're going to pull everybody in and then drop it. Probably because Uncle Sam means business. Like I said, the kitchen sink in the thumbnail. Have we seen the kitchen sink yet from the government? Well, today we have, but bigger picture, probably not. Because really all the current administration seems like they can do is manage perceptions. And you know what? Even if it's not the current administration, I mean, if you were the world's reserve currency, would you like people in computer money, especially your own citizens, FOMOing in? I can understand their point, right? From where they're sitting. However, my right and your right to be sovereign individuals supersedes their perception or political perception issues. Okay? Is anyone looking at Polkadot? They should be. When they tokenize everything, okay? So Polymath, which was this group that came out in 2017 talking about tokenizing securities, which they blew up Telegram. Telegram had to expand the number of people that could be in their group. I mean, I'll never forget it. They had this, bullish blue logo. These guys are trying to convert themselves into like what is like a Polkadot-ish token for securities. The tokenization of everything is going to happen. Not investment advice on this. Researching the tokenization of everything will help you. There's no, how do I say, there's no doubt. Polkadot and Avalanche have got to be involved in that process for long-term investing thesis. Long-term investing thesis. Okay. Let's take a look at oil. You really got to be careful of a geopolitical event. This has all the earmarkings of gap and go. Gap up above a fib speed resistance line and go. Feels like people are getting chopped up in wheat. Here's what I can tell you about wheat on the daily chart, right? Now, we have commodities experts at EAG where I work. This feels in wheat like some sort of diamond formation, right? It's probably been brewing for a while. I think you got to be really careful about something happening in grains and wheat because, like I said, This has implications for Ethereum. Is it boring? I don't think so. Commodities are breaking out. Okay, commodities have essentially been up only. And there is your 200-day moving average in CRB. There's your 200-day moving average. I mean, commodities have not even gotten back to their long-term mean yet. And this could have very positive implications for ETH. Now let's take a look at ETH. Note this Williams oscillator relatively close to zero, not exactly at zero. But one thing I'm sort of wondering about ETH and Bitcoin. Okay, is if, you know, this trend could really like extend itself. Now, here's a key point. ETH should have stopped at 1865 based on this hidden pivot work, and it didn't. Matter of fact, I think it's very interesting if 1865 acts as support. Okay, because it's invalidating what should be a top. Okay, ETH could also get dropped on Good Friday. So let's sum it up. Be careful of volatility on holiday weekends. Full moons in April can result in epic volatility, 3-4% either way. My guess is down on Good Friday, up on Easter. If there is no down on Good Friday, you better look out for the rest of April, because the government has thrown everything at this but the kitchen sink. We're headed over to Debate Crypto. Audience will automatically get directed. I will see you at either Debate Crypto or on Monday on my show. We'll see you soon. Happy holidays.